Welcome back to Chaos Corner. It's your old buddy, the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy. And I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. For these purposes, it's the GOC Kirkland Esquire, GOC Esquire, if you will. I am here to review Night 10, Round 1 of the Green Room Tournament, where the lights are on, we move the cameras, it's a beautiful day. You're not going to want to miss what I have to say about Night 10. We are here 20 feet below the surface of the earth to bring you the preview. Now, everyone is on board. You're here from YouTube, you're here from Twitter, you're here from Twitch, you're here from Instagram, and of course, my buddy Jay Brony, who's got my back over on Facebook. So sit back and relax. We have a night of twists and turns. We're going to be here for a while. Grab a snack, grab a beverage, sit out on the veranda. And yes, I am still largely in deep pain and going through mental, psychological, spiritual, emotional, and physical issues when it comes to Pinocchio Joe. Yeah, you were all expecting a fourth match, unprecedented and history making. It was referred to. We're going to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Night 10, Round 1 of the Green Room Tournament. And of course, you know that I wasn't there. I wasn't there for Night 10 for the fourth matchup between myself and Pinocchio Joe. Did you all have a good time? Was there some interference, maybe? Power grid? I mean, I don't know. That's just what I heard. Look, everything's even falling apart here down in the bunker. But who cares about that? Because I don't. And we'll be back. We'll be back for our next matchup, Pinocchio Joe. You have no idea what's going to happen. So everyone stick with us. Let me adjust here. We're bouncing back from all the other social media platforms, and then we'll be over on Facebook and YouTube. I am the Guardian of Chaos. I do tell it like it is. Stick around. It's your old buddy. I think I can make it through. I got the ice packs. I'm ready. Don't you dare miss it. All right, fans, so let me adjust the studio. We're back here to review Night 10 of Avi Klein's The Green Room Tournament, the 64-person single elimination bracket-style tournament. I'm going to kick back. I'm going to relax. I want you to do the same. What do you think of the lighting? Is it a little better? Let me adjust the studio back here because we had a near a catastrophic issue. I don't want to cover up my boy Jay Brony, but stick with me, bear with me. Let me at least put that back up there so we have something to compare it to. Fans, friends, the WWAB podcast universe, the WWAB network. It was a night to behold on Night 10. Yeah, there were a couple of real idiots that were out there for real on Facebook and on social media trying to destroy the broadcast, whether it be jealousy or envy. And this is a shoot, this part right here. There's people out there that are haters. There's people out there that are wannabes or has-beens, or because it doesn't go their way, or they don't have patience, or they've been given an opportunity and they blew it and they burned the bridge. Instead of being out there being negative in this world, why don't you go out there and be positive and support and be a part of something bigger than you and yourself, and trying to ruin things for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of other people who need a positive influence and some entertainment right now, which is what the Green Room is. We know what it is. A cross between SNL, the old primetime players back in the day, and Days of Our Lives, or One Life to Live, or General Hospital, and Second City Television. That's what you get. Stars from film, TV, industry, movies, entertainment, pro wrestling, music, theater, surprises. Why would you want to ruin that for the throngs of people out there that are trying to find something that's not affected by the real world of the politics and all the social justice BS and all the different things that are going on out there and how bad the real world really is? And if you're not one with faith and you're not walking with the Lord, you're in big trouble. So, and this is a shoot part before I get on to Night 10. But if either jump on or jump off, don't ruin it for everyone else. And if you see somebody else out there trying to do something wrong, step to them, approach them, stick up for your rights and convictions. That's what it's all about. I can't stress that enough. All the chicanery aside, yeah, I had something to do with the Green Room and Pinocchio Joe and our matchup. We'll talk about that later. You'll understand when they tried to bring him on 3 or 4 times on Night 10. But the real legitimate stuff that goes on out in reality on social media and Facebook, it's not right, it's not fair, and don't do it because it will come back to get you and haunt you, and you know that. Let me get off my soapbox. That's my opening monologue. I wanted to address that, but I want to get on to the good, the bad, and the ugly of night 10. And let's just say, for all my fans out there, because it's about you, it's about the people. All your live votes matter. You make us run. You are the engine on 39 or 45 different pages, including the hosts. 1.3 million, 1.5 million viewers, almost 4 million in a year. I understand that. It's because of you, the people. Without you, we wouldn't have this. We wouldn't be doing any of this. I wouldn't be so energized right now that I'm working through all kinds of injuries and sickness, mostly due to Pinocchio Joe. But that's neither here nor there. It's not about me. It's about the team, the ensemble, the cast. It's about giving you what you want out there in the WWAB Podcast Network. And this is what you would get if I was the host involved in any way. So let me get off the soapbox. Let's get on to night 10 of the Green Room. Again, we already know there's been over 270 people that have passed through the Green Room doors. There's been over 20 people eliminated from this 64-person tournament that started on May 8th. So we're going to talk about that. We open up night 10, round 1 of the Green Room tournament. Remember, this is show number 44. That's right, 44 of the Green Room for night 10, round 1. Pete from Sharpie, the national sponsor, opens up the show. Listen, I get it. He's no actor, but he's not bad on camera. He's got a nice little setup there. He addresses some of the comments that have been made he's about himself. He's claiming that, hey, I'm not a villain. I'm not a bad guy. I brought James back because a lot of people have been getting on him. Because as you know, if you've been following the show and going back and following these review and previews and following Avi's page and all the different hosts and following the Green Room, that James from Right Guard, the former national sponsor of the Green Room, former competitor, is now back as a competitor and also as a judge first by Pete. And so a lot of people gave Pete a lot of flack because they brought him back. Now, he's the national sponsor, and he's also a judge, so he's very influential here. I wonder if he still golfs with Davis Jubilee. You guys think I forget about that, his golfing date with Davis Jubilee and Pete. You remember all that, right? Because I do. I remember the connections. I'm paying attention. I also remember, and we'll get into it, the connection some years ago, 3 years ago now in Las Vegas, Pete and James. Listen, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to it. I got people on of it. You all know well now by the comments and by the people that step to you and come around to me how many people and followers and guardians of chaos that I truly, truly have. Bear with me here. So Pete is claiming he's not a villain. He's not a bad guy. But you could take him or leave him. He's had heat with some competitors and not with others. But he brought in James from Right Guard because, let's face it, in his opinion, he's quick thinking. He has skills. He's got on-screen presence. I don't know about the on-screen presence. They're actually calling themselves, and this is what makes me think about Las Vegas, they're calling each other the Battle Buddies. What, are you going to go out and get some dolls made for yourself or something? James and Pete, the old battle buddies. So Pete goes on to review night 9, and his battle buddy James from Right Guard, also a judge and national sponsor, comes on and he previews night 10. So that's how we open up the Green Room. These two have been on screen a lot, and you're going to see them all night. And moving on in, let's face it, Sharpie and Right Guard, they're the national sponsors. I love them both. So, but be careful now if you see some of the collusion. I hate to use that political word, but that's going on between certain people and cliques in the Green Room, and real battles, and ones that are a little more laid back in the intensity, and the ones that are risking your lives, and the ones that are cohorts or in cahoots. This is a competition. It's every man and woman for himself. Remember that. So the battle buddies go on to review, and then James comes in to preview night 10. You know, they compliment each other. The whole kumbaya moment. This literally went on for like the first 10 minutes of the show. No wonder why we're on for 4 hours. James talks about Eric Heron and how the Murder Hornet, a.k.a. the Lone Wolf, one bad mamma jamma. Legit as they come. He has been brought back into the tournament. We know that from reviewing Night 9 and reviewing back. So Eric is now back in the tournament. But James, you saw the promo, you saw the highlight, you saw Eric Heron, the Murder Hornet. Yeah, B. Brian Blair's moved on to round two. But Eric Heron held B. Brian Blair by the wings and was ready to snap him. He can compete with anybody, Eric Heron. The Murder Hornet, the Lone Wolf. So James, be careful, tread lightly. And as we go on, you're going to see what happens. So again, Pete and James going back and forth. We both know now, and it's crystal clear. And hey, big man. Hey, funny man. I love you. I respect you. And, we have been in the same circles before. It was just a long time ago, Bill. I hope you're listening, Bill DeMott. I watch your show, Face Value, every Tuesday night. But they both don't like you. And you know Avi doesn't. And as we go on, we'll see that, Bill DeMott. Face Value. Tough enough trainer, wrestling legend, a man out there saving lives, and that's a shoot. But Bill DeMott, are you paying attention? Not just Tuesday nights in Face Value. I know you don't like the green room. I know you don't like what's going on. I know it's crazy, the questions and things that are happening to you sporadically on the green room. I get it, big man. But if you're paying attention, Bill, and I'm just giving you some friendly advice. We're not friends, or we'll be foes, whatever. I'm just throwing it out there because I tell it like it is. And I'll say that to say this. They both don't like you, and neither does Avi. And you already know that now. So that's what we go on. They do refer to the Guardian of Chaos. God forbid I should say yours truly. It's been barred. It's been banned. It's been trademarked by one Avi Klein, yours truly. So I can't say yours truly. They talk about yours truly in the unprecedented fourth matchup between Pinocchio Joe and the Guardian of Chaos. Let me tell you something, Joe. We're going to go on. I'm going to skip off that. It's about everyone else here until our part. So that's what we really learned there in the opening here of show number 44, night 10, round 1 of the Green Room Tournament. We go to the video right after that. The intro video that Avi Klein has put together for this tournament is second to none. It could be on ESPN. It could be on Fox Sports. It could be on any programming network. The video, the trailer, the short film, whatever it is that you want to call it, that's put together with the music and shows all the competitors and highlights of the green room, over 270 visitors and over 22 people eliminated. We know that it started September 12th, 2020. The tournament, May 8th. The video and trailer should be nominated for an award. It should be an ESPY. It should be something. There should be some sort of awards. Maybe we can have a green room award ceremony night. But that film by Avi showing everyone that's been in the green room tournament is second to none. Hey, I'm no Siskel and Ebert. I'm just telling it like it is. And then we get the introduction of unbiased Fine Klein comes on and hits the big screen of the green room. Unbiased Fine Klein? Where do you get off calling yourself unbiased Fine Klein the way you have stuck it to me, Avi Klein? You have twisted and turned and kept me on the sidelines and banned me and barred me and cut me off and blamed me for everything from tech issues on down. And then you're going to come on here and be unbiased Fine Klein. So let me get on my soapbox and how you've been unbiased towards who? Certainly not towards me. You have tried to damage and destroy me since the day before I came on here, when I was back long before the Green Room Tournament started, when I was in the trial of Howard Collado and David Holliday. You remember? And when I made my debut on Maintaining the Truth with Paul Roma. Do you remember? I ain't new to this, homeboy. I'm true to this. Pain, no pain, shoot, no shoot. I'm true to this. Remember that. So that's what we have in the green room. So unbiased Fine Klein, you got a lot of nerve. You got a lot of cojones. You got big grapefruits. Are your peaches fuzzy, Avi? Are your peaches fuzzy? I will give Avi credit for this because we know he's talented. We know about Lionsgate, 15 years, a school teacher, a pro wrestler, AK-47. I get it. He's no bum. He's no tomato can. He's no slouch. He's made his way and he's earned it. And he still does to this day. I didn't realize how good he is as a poet laureate. Every week he keeps showing it more and more and more. Leaping Lanny Poffo has nothing on Avi Klein. He comes on and gives an unbelievable tribute and been showing videos and highlights and clips of Del Wilkes, the late, great pastor Del Wilkes from Unmasking the Truth here on the WWAB network. Del Wilkes was one hell of a man, salt of the earth, and he came up with a poem, and he comes up with the clips of the best of Del Wilkes, and man, I still can't believe that man is gone. I still can't believe it. So I could imagine how his family and friends and Avi feels, and Pastor Andy McDaniel and David Holliday and the fans. I understand, and it's just unbelievable. And so Avi really does hit it home for there, and that's off to the side of the green room. And then he's a poet laureate and comes up again. I use the term, as I just did twice already, about night 10, and comes up with a poem. I'll give him credit. He could write, he could edit, he could produce, he could perform. What can he do? You can't get rid of me, you son of a bitch. You can't. So here we go. Pete, James, and Avi start off with, as it was advertised, the Battle of the Eliminated. Now, we know what that is. Battle of the Eliminated, self-explanatory. 2 competitors that have been eliminated already in the first 9 nights of competition. So Pete, James, and Avi, they draw 2 names of former losers who are now winners again because now they're back in the tournament. Who's better than that? I even haven't had a chance to finish round 1, to even see if I qualify for round 2. And people are coming back already? Shouldn't I have waited to the second round, Avi Klein and Pete and James? No? Is anybody going to ask me my advice? Or am I still going to sit on the end of the bench or on the sidelines 6, 7, 8 weeks? It doesn't matter. Just know, because I won't lose my passion. I won't lose my dedication. I won't lose my focus in where I want to go and what I want to do. And watching all of you. I'm watching all of you. Remember that, as much as you're watching me. So Avi pulls out Maria, who just got finished being defeated by Miranda. The Queen of Mean lost to the Queen of Serene. Let's make that clear. But Maria is now back. And also, going way back to the future, and he's connected deep and dark into the green room with David Holliday, especially Avi Klein himself. And that would be one Jamie Sparling is back, who's been in a couple of main events himself and took David Holliday to the limit. That's got to get into Holliday's head itself. Mind games, that's what it's all about. So there we have it. Jamie Sparling is back. Maria is back. They both lost. And I even hear rumors, we'll clarify, I even hear that for like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 10th time, Mickey Doyle is back. That's what I'm hearing. Green Room original Mickey Doyle is also back in the tournament. How many times he's been in and out? Gangrel, the stat, has been fired, injured. Roma slapped the shit out. I can't swear. Slapped the heck out of him. What's going on? Don't make me move like that. So supposedly it's going to be a 3-way dance, because this is what happened. Avi grabbed 2 cards by mistake. They stuck together. That's his story. He's sticking to it. Pete and James, they stopped Avi. They're there to judge him and try to keep him in check. I guess it's working. You got to have 3 judges. So they stop him. Pete agrees to it, and it's a 3-way dance. That's where the confusion is going to be. Maria, Jamie, and Mickey Doyle in the first 3-way ever on the green room. That's the news to start it off with, the Battle of the Eliminated. We go on to the winner's circle. Now, we all thought it was going to be David Holliday, and you remember what happened last on night 9 with Rich Masadi and David Holliday. Not only has Rich defeated the odds-on favorite Duke the Dumpster Droese, Rich was on the initial winner's circle debut, and man, did he have a lot to say to David Holliday. Those 2 went back and forth and were unbelievably agitated and aggressive, and it got personal. Give Rich Masadi credit. Here's a guy who came in and turned this green room upside down. He's on all shows now. He beat Duke. He's on the winner's circle. I saw him on night 10. Rich Masadi is everywhere. He really is. He came in and upset. If anyone had an impact on this green room, I have to say it. Because, listen, I've been on the sidelines. We got a lot of things going on. Ours may be the most anticipated, heated, history-making, but Rich Masadi has turned this green room upside down. So Davis Jubilee, this is where I was leaving to, comes on. We're expecting David Holiday. We're reviewing what happened last week, and it's Davis Jubilee out of nowhere. Now, Avi Klein is not on screen. Who knows where he goes? And then when he goes back into the green room. I've seen him run through a couple of times, different times, going to get coffee or something like that. I've seen Avi Klein in the back. So I don't know where he goes and what he does. He's always on his phone. He's got people around him all the time. There's something going on. So Davis Jubilee hosts, and I got to tell you, he starts bantering right away about Duke the Dumpster Drosy. Davis starts talking about Mickey Doyle. And out of nowhere, he has on Brian Clark, a.k.a. Adam Bomb, showed up and he put the wrath on Davis Jubilee. Now, you know I'm familiar with Davis. We squared off in the courtroom in the trial of Howard Collado. I know all about you, Davis Jubilee. How the heck you ever even advanced into the second round and now you're hosting the winner's circle? It's always changing from week to week. Rules, appearances, people, you never know what's going to happen on the green room. That's why every Saturday night live you have to tune in. So Davis Jubilee brings on Brian Clark. Now, that man served this country, so it's great to see Brian Clark. He's well-spoken. He's got a nice background. They go back and forth. He's a no-nonsense man's man, Brian Clark. He has moved on into the second round. He had one hell of a battle with Tugboat Typhoon, the Shockmaster, the B-A-double-D, Fred Ottman. Both Ottman and Brian Clark have moved on to the second round. So it makes sense that Clark shows up here on the green room, and that's why you never know what's going to happen on the green room. Brian Clark is an excellent listen. So as we move on here, let's move on, make sure that we get everything in here, because I'm on top of course, you know that Brian Clark had to talk and cut down Fred Ottman, Tugboat. Tugboat wasn't there to defend himself. He went back and forth. Brian Clark not only had a lot to say about the competitors in the field, he had a lot to say about Fred Ottman and wants to take on the Typhoon Tugboat again. Pretty impressive. So it was nice to see Brian Clark back there on the winner's circle. Out of nowhere, because he was on last week, and this is what I'm saying about Rich Masadi, he pops into the winner's circle 2 weeks in a row, beat Drosy. Rich Masadi, bro, soak it in, bro. Appreciate it. Take that 15 minutes and make it into an hour and a half and then make it into a lifestyle. You ain't new to this either, brother. You're true to this. Sit back, soak it up, and get as much as you can, my friend. So Rich Masadi comes in. So now he's down there with Davis Jubilee and Brian Clark, and Rich starts alluding to Davis and David Holiday, winner's circle, familiar looks, family, thinking back, looking back, conspiracies, whatever it is, things that I talk about with Hauser Odelak, DJ Hooja, the Music Man, Howard Collado, whatever it is. Now we're talking about Davis Jubilee, David Holiday. I understand where Rich Masadi's coming from. So, but we banter on to that. Avi comes in, cuts it off. He comes in, and then Rich and Brian are on there talking, and Brian Clark is playing no games. Now I see, not only as I remember seeing him on the big screen, Armageddon when he's around, Adam Bomb, Wrath. He went off on everyone, and he kind of shut Rich down, although he gave Rich Masadi a lot of credit. Rich even agreed and said, hey, you make some valid points. So an interesting winner's circle, not what we expected as the night started. We go on there, Avi's back, and we go into the Once Brothers first matchup of the night. Avi always starts out hot and heavy. He's been doing it on every show with the lineup. That's what you do. Emotional investment, storytelling, getting people to come back to be invested in what's going on in the green room. And there's nothing like it, and this is how you do it. Bill DeMott and Crowbar. DeMott is smoking a stogie. He's a large individual, mobile, hostile, agile, and nimble. And of course, Crowbar, the thespian, the five-tool player, timeless, ageless, The intro videos on both of these men were unbelievable. But once again, and I said it in the opening, Bill DeMott, and I hope you're paying attention, they're out to get you somehow, some way, or at least out of the green room, because you spoke out so heavily how you didn't like the green room and you thought it was ruining the WWAB. So the video's kind of a shot at you, Bill, if you're paying attention, and I know that you are. So the videos were unbelievable. Right away, Crowbar, and he's been doing it now since the series started. Right away, he's talking about Sharpie and Right Guard, and he's holding the product up and schmoozing and snuggling up. Hey, I'm not saying that if that's you, kid. You know, you do you, Crowbar. I respect you. We go back like 8 tracks, like a recliner. You know that, right, Devin? You know that, right, Chris? We go back. So anyway, Pete and James are now on. Bill is blasting Avi about the intro promos, just as I said. The green room screen, so all of a sudden, is behind Del. Freudian slip. I love you, Del. Behind Crowbar. So Crowbar's sitting behind something that I guess was provided to him. He got a care package of Sharpies and cans of Right Guard and a green room scene behind him, screen, for whatever you want to call it, backdrop. So there's something going on. And of course, we know that whatever Crowbar is on, there's always a mention of Taekwon. International Taekwon Day, Taekwon this, the Kwons, they had a cake, Pete chimes in, Avi chimes in, unbiased fine Klein. Really, Avi, do we have to go back to there as we're 26 minutes in here to the review of Night 10 with your old buddy, the GOC, because I tell it like it is. So I'll say that to say this. Let's move on. So that's where we're starting. Crowbar's going on, and he's saying that, Crowbar is saying now with the green screen behind him, a lot going on, that Taekwon will make an appearance and is here tonight. I don't believe it. I'm along the lines of Bill DeMott and a couple of other people, and a lot of other people. I never saw his comments, really. Avi claimed he was there. Crowbar claimed they knew each other. Rock Richards, the big blockhead, rock blocking everyone, he claimed it. Everyone knows Taekwon this, Taekwon Day. So I didn't believe it, but he's saying that Taekwon is going to be on. And Crowbar recites a poem. He's almost as good, if not better, or at least equal to Avi. Where's all this coming from? Do I have to step up my game in the poems? Wow. I never knew it was going to be this hard in the green room. And Avi, of course, is all giddy. There's one thing, I'm in a lot of meetings with Avi. We take a lot of calls. We talk a lot. He's very stern. He's a taskmaster. He's smart. He's full of direction, knows what he's talking about. Boy, but what a different guy on screen. He's always a little giddy and bravo, and kind of like a high school cheerleader with pom-poms. I could see him maybe in a little skirt. I don't, what did I say, Avi? I'm just saying you're very giddy with certain competitors and at certain times. I've noticed that. Different than when you're in the meetings and I hope he doesn't walk through the green room anytime soon. You never know what could happen, especially down here in the bunker. It's happened before. People have been down here. Don't think that I haven't changed things around. And you know who I'm talking about, PJ. So that's what they're talking about. And after the poem, I said, obviously, Bill almost just like is stunned and can't respond. And through all this, has been showing it since the beginning. And in these matchups with Crowbar, he can't believe what's going on. He is dumbfounded, befuddled, whatever word that you want to say. Okay, so we move on. The first challenge here, again, remember, this is an elimination. The first challenge is a rewriting history challenge, Avi says. It's sort of a promo improv. Here we go. The first one is by Crowbar. Now remember, rewinding history, promo improv. Now, Crowbar is telling, in this scene, is telling a young Bill DeMott he will never be his friend. He'll never make it. You can't change. You're bound to be who you are. Now, James from Right Guard, because you know that Avi does this, he brings in Pete and James and use them as role players in the scene. So James from Right Guard is playing a little Bill DeMott. First off, picture that. So here we go. He's playing a little Bill DeMott, James from Right Guard, and here's Crowbar telling a young Bill DeMott, he'll never be anything. He's not going to have any friends. You'll never make it. You can't change. Wow, what a promo. And James as little Bill DeMott, well, that was worth the price of admission itself. But I noticed that Crowbar at the end says, I love you, Bill DeMott. So Crowbar Chris Ford says, I love you, Bill DeMott, at the end of this promo. So you're wondering about the mind games, where it's going. And then he's talking about Taekwon again. I don't know where this is going. So the first challenge, Rewinding History promo improv for Bill DeMott is every 5:30 at Tuesday night. You know that. It's Avi Klein and Bill DeMott for Face Value and the Carrie Ann DeMott Foundation. Listen, it doesn't get any better than that. And more importantly, it couldn't be a more better cause for a family member. My heart goes out to you, Bill. I say it all the time. We get back onto the challenges. Bill, now, first off, Pete is playing a young little boy Crowbar. So picture that, how James is playing Bill DeMott. Pete is playing Crowbar. Bill now is telling a young Crowbar why he won't be successful. He'll never be a mentor. You're not going to believe, you know why? Because you're going to believe your own press. You're going to be so hyped up and into yourself that you're not going to listen to anything. Yeah, you're great. You're a good guy. But you know what? You're not going to be able to mentor because you know what, Crowbar, you know what, Chris? It's all a work, man. You're going to end up turning on everyone because it's all about you. And that's what's going to happen to you. And that was definitely something that I think hit home with Bill DeMott. So I like where he went on that. So we go to the votes. Again, Pete as a little Crowbar was interesting in itself. Again, it's a work, baby. So we go to the votes. Pete votes for Bill DeMott. James votes for Bill DeMott. So I'm surprised right from the rip from there, because if you're listening to the opening, you know that they both can't stand Bill DeMott. They think he's disrespectful because Bill has cut down the green room. So I'm kind of surprised. Maybe Pete's saying it's a pity vote. I mean, who knows? I don't know what they're up to, but there's a lot of games going on. A game within the game to see who's going to get to the finish of the game. Do you understand? It's a game. So Pete and James both vote for Bill. Avi goes bananas. He's literally like Magilla Gorilla. Magilla Gorilla for sale. How much is that gorilla in the window? Do you remember that? Am I showing my age? Let's get back to the task at hand. Avi goes bananas. Avi votes for Crowbar, and for whatever reason, he wants to go to the fans. So this is the first part where I always say, all your live votes matter, and comments and live votes matter. I say it all the time. I can't say it enough. You fans know it. It's the most interactive platform that you can imagine that's out there. It's the hottest, fastest rising, growing show on the entertainment industry, on the network and social media. It's unbelievable. It's trending and trending now. So the votes go to the fans. They come pouring in. It's Crowbar. It's Bill. It's DeMott. It's Crowbar. It's Chris. Crowbar. Chris. Crowbar. Bill DeMott. Humorous. Bill DeMott. Face value. So the votes are going back and forth. We know that Pete voted for Bill. James, a pity vote. James voted for Bill. Avi voted for Crowbar again. There's something. We're going to see what happens on Tuesday nights. The fans end up voting for one Bill DeMott from Face Value, and DeMott wins the challenge. And now Bill goes up 1-0 in night 10. Remember, this is an elimination bout. It's 1-1 in the best of 3. So Bill DeMott wins the promo improv challenge due to you, the fans. That's why I keep telling you how important it is. We go to the second challenge. Hold on. We're 30 minutes in here. It flies right by. Listen, I got to get a 3.5-hour show into an hour and a half. Kick back, relax, stay to the end. Listen, I got the Halls. I got the nasal spray. I got all the different... Listen, I'll be honest. I'm taking a couple muscle relaxers. I got the ice packs. I got the heating pad. I got the lidocaine patches. I got the water to hydrate. Definitely less dead air here at Chaos Corner than on any other show that I've been watching on the internet. Sometimes even on the green room, a lot of dead air. A lot of dead air on certain shows. You don't get much more than that here at the GOC. One man, unique, raw, unscripted, unedited, alive to tape from 20 feet below the surface of the earth. That's what you would get if I was the green room host. I just want to throw my PSA in there. Hey, listen, I'm struggling physically through this. Let me throw in my PSA. Let's get back to the task at hand. So we know that Avi was going to the bananas. We know that now Crowbar is up 1-0. Let's go to the second challenge. It's a debate. We go to Crowbar. And now it's making a case in this debate. Crowbar has to make a case for the upcoming 2022 year that it's going to become better if, and now you have to use these words in your debate challenge. So Avi gives you the baseline. You got to make a case for the upcoming year, 2022, and why it would become better if, and using these words, Perfect Strangers, the comedy, White Man's Afros, and Bill Laimbeer from the Bad Boys, the Detroit Pistons. So again, think about that. You got to come up with making a case in this debate for the year 2022 and why it would be better if the Perfect Strangers sitcom would come back and the White Man's Afros and Bill Laimbeer. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff. I don't know who's right now. I'm just telling you. Think about that. So that's Crowbar's. He did pretty good. I have to say that he did make a little bit of a comeback, but he kind of flubs it because it got personal. Bill was, again, you could see that he's beside himself throughout this whole thing. You know the history from Jersey with these guys. You know how long this goes back. Not only did Crowbar not really, surprisingly, not hit that out of the box. I told you I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is what you get here on the Green Room. I tell it like it is. So he kind of flubs it. Bill's definitely making it and becoming and letting it more personal. I could see. And Crowbar's kind of feeding off that as a mind game. There's no two ways about it. I mean, it's the truth. So as we move on, the debate continues. Avi gives, because Chris Ford, Crowbar, Devin Storm, I call him Crowbar, because Avi is so against DeMott, and I keep telling this, Bill, I don't like calling you DeMott, although that's what in the prison, we call each other by last names. I was always called Chaos, so I'm sorry. Avi gives him a mulligan and lets Crowbar go on again in debate. It's like a take two. Well, what? How could you be unbiased, fine, Klein? I'm going to continue to ask that question. And if you're not watching every minute of this show, I don't know what you're doing. You're missing the nuggets, the tidbits. I'm going to say that to say this. So, Bill is certainly, again, wondering why. He's befuddled. He's dumbfounded of why he's getting a second chance. He really is. So here's the take two for Crowbar. And I hope, I didn't see a lot of other people get this kind of leniency from unbiased Klein, unbiased fine Klein. So here it is. It's along the same lines of the debate. So why in 2022, right up Crowbar's alley, and you're going to get it when I say it, why in 2022 will Star Wars wow the world again? Now, if you've been paying attention to this whole matchup with P and with Avi and Bill and Crowbar, and even when I teamed up with Crowbar as part of the legal team performing in front of Judge Kim Laurinaitis against Davis Jubilee for Howard Collado, everyone forgets about that, but I didn't. So what ends up happening is that's where all the Star Wars came from. And they went on and on and on back in previous episodes. You got to go back and check it out. So Avi knew that. He gives him, why would Star Wars wow the world again? Unbiased fine Klein. And Crowbar, this segment went on for about an hour, rambled and rambled and rambled and drank some wine and drank some water and rambled on some more. Now, I love Crowbar. And if I ever face you, that rambling will stop, Crowbar. Because you know it, I know what you're about, right? You know that. Remember when I was commissioner, manager, in the dress, remember it, I know. We were in the same showers, remember? So anyway, he's rambling on and Avi's letting him go. We finally get on to Bill, again, dumbfounded. In 2020, Bill, why will they make a comeback? And he gives them VHS stores, Crazy Eddie. Remember Crazy Eddie? It's absolutely insane. I shouldn't have done that. Crazy Eddie, you remember that from back in the day. And he has to also throw in on that Alf. If you ever remember the puppet or the Muppet or whatever the hell it was. So Crowbar gets Star Wars, which he's a huge fan on and an authority, so to speak. And Bill DeMott has to come up and with a debate about what would be wow the crowd in 2022. VHS stores, Crazy Eddie, because they were absolutely insane, and Alf. Unbelievable. If they were to make a comeback, would anyone care in 2022? Well, I don't know. Although I got a bunch of VHS all around here. I love VHS tapes. Let's move on to the task at hand. We go on to the next challenge, and it continues on with the debate. Again, Crowbar is rambling and rambling. This was the longest. This show right here could have been a show within itself. Longer than any one of the segments that's on 7 days a week live on the WWAB Podcast Network. Any one of them. And we know what they are because we're going to run them down. But he rambles on and on and on, and Bill is stupefied. He really is. His reactions were priceless. Now, Crowbar in this debate, what's worse in 2022 if it was to make a comeback? Would this make it worse in 2022 in this debate challenge? You got to use these specific words, like if you're following along. So the words for Crowbar in this next challenge is, if they were to make a comeback, MC Hammer time, too legit to quit. Hey, MC Hammer, RC Cola, and Count Chocula. So those are the three words that he has to use in his debate, and why it would would be worse in 2022 if they were to come back. MC Hammer, RC Cola, and Count Chocula. And again, what does Crowbar do if you were watching last night? And I implore you to go back and watch the replay. He was rambling on and on and on. He gets as much FaceTime, if not more, than Rich Masadi. But Rich has earned it. What has Crowbar done? I'm just saying, he's entertaining. So we go on to the next debate, again, along the same line, the same setup of what would be worse or better to the crowd now, a couple of years from now, in 2022, and a year from now, what would be worse or better? And this is Bill's next challenge in that debate. What would be worse in 2022 if Bill DeMott makes a comeback in pro wrestling? What kind of question is that? I don't understand what's going on. Listen, Bill DeMott is an emotional guy, a guy you wouldn't want to get mad. He starts going off the hook, off the chain. It was unbelievable. Avi cuts him off. Bill literally lost his senses, and Avi disqualified Bill DeMott. At least no contest, disqualification, cut him off, whatever you want to call it. Now, I don't know what's going to happen Tuesday on Face Value. I don't know. But I'm telling you what happened. Pete ended up voting for Crowbar. James, he cuts himself off. He said he doesn't want to be involved in this. Avi voted for Crowbar. We know where their loyalties lie, especially with Pete and Avi. Listen, and pun intended on this one, it was pure chaos. It just really was. So that's it. Crowbar wins. It's now 1-1 in the challenges. So listen, this goes on for quite a while. DeMott is insane. So now it's 1-1 in the challenges here. Let's move forward with Bill DeMott and Crowbar. This was, in my opinion, an unbelievable part of night 10. And I was literally well, let me not say what I was doing. Let's move on to the task at hand. Bill claims he was taken off the show. Now, you knew that was coming, and that's what I said. I alluded to it before I even went on to the highlights. Listen, it really was something. I don't see what Bill did to get violated there and get disqualified, but it's 1-1. He's still got a chance. I don't know if they're not cutting him slack because he is a host of his own show, or if it's because Crowbar is so mesmerizing. You could see it happen with Crowbar. It's like the Pied Piper. He really is. We go on to the third challenge here, and it's a Q&A. And I'm going to say that to say this. You know how the Q&As are. All the questions are coming from the different Kwans and this and that. Taekwon, Tokwon, Tukwon, Lucinda, Bubinda, Banana, Anna, Fofana. All that different stuff in the Q's and Q&As. But here's the third challenge of the night. Crowbar goes first. Here's the question. And Pete asks. I told you, Pete, James, big part of these shows as role players and also national sponsors and judges. We know that. Listen, no matter what you think about them, they're pretty important guys, man. So Crowbar and Pete asks, you got to discuss how tough it is to be talented and give advice for the competitors. So Pete asks Crowbar to do that. He wants He wants you to have like a discussion as Crowbar's character on how tough it is to be talented as he is. Kind of kissing his ass, don't you think? Yeah. Yeah, if Ken Patera could say ass, so could I. But unbelievable what Crowbar's been doing with the national sponsors. But he turns just as quick, if you notice, too. You notice that. So Crowbar giving advice as if he's like a mentor and give advice to us fellow competitors. Again, constantly kissing up, and here we go again. This is the theme here at 45 minutes in of the review of night 10 of the Green Room Tournament. Rambles on, ramble on, do, 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 sing my song, do, 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 ramble on. Wasn't that by Led Zeppelin? I think that was a pretty famous song, Ramble On. Well, that's what Crowbar was doing. I'm just telling you. So, and then we go on to Bill, okay? And his challenge, well, not challenge, it's a Q&A, and it's James asks, and I'm sure Avi's feeding the questions because, let's face it, he's the marionette. He's the puppet master. He's the Wizard of Id, or the Wizard of Oz, or whatever it is that Crowbar calls Avi that he gets all get of Thor, Igor, I don't know what the name is, but you could see Avi gets all giddy. Maybe even a little movement, if you know what I'm talking about. Let's get on to the task at hand. I love saying that expression. So Crowbar, let's get on to Bill's question. Again, Bill is definitely getting shortchanged. He's getting screwed over with these questions. Just my opinion. Who comes up with this? I don't know what Avi's doing when he comes. Is this at 3 o'clock in the morning when he's writing these questions down? Because he can't be in his right mind when he's coming up with these questions. The fans can't be in their right minds if they're sending them in. Why do spotted seals get away with not doing their taxes? Let me say it again. Why do spotted seals get away with not doing their taxes? I won't even entertain that question. So we go on. Let's go on. I don't even think Bill entertained it. So let's go on to the second Q&A for Crowbar, and it's from Lucinda, of all people, supposedly from Hawaii. Pehaloi, Melahini, Wahini, Mahalo. Supposedly Lucinda from Hawaii. Now, this is for Crowbar. Have you ever considered mugging the character George Jetson and how tough it would be to get in his space vehicle and ride off? Now, whoever came up with that question was smoking something about George Jetson and going off in a vehicle. I don't know, man. George Jetson, meet George Jetson, do. Jane, his wife, ding, 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 ding. His boy Elroy, boo, 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 boo. Daughter Judy, la, 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 la. And then Rastro. Really? It's crazy that I even know that. So that was the question from Lucinda. And, of course, what was Crowbar doing? I won't do it again. Ramble on. Led Zeppelin. Bill's question is from a new viewer, I believe, Kimberly. And so now Bill DeMott, the question is, naming a child Edgar, that's right, Edgar, an indication of self-importance. Now, I wouldn't know about that. I don't even know anybody named Edgar. So, Kimberly, that's my question. Bill DeMott was... I don't know. Bill was just looking around like he was lost in space. Will Robinson and danger. What was that? The robot. Danger, danger, danger. Warning, warning. This is no stick. Hold on, son of a. Unbelievable. So listen, I got a feel for Bill DeMott. Now I don't know Bill personally. I've never met him, never spoke to him, and have never been on his show. But I will know one thing, and do know this for sure that I can say. He's getting a screwing. I'll tell you that. I don't know if it's a Phillips or a flathead, but he's getting a screwing, Bill DeMott. So we go to the votes. Pete, listen, this is self-explanatory if you've been following around since May 8th, and more importantly, since the beginning in September of 2020. Pete votes for Crowbar. James votes for Bill. I was kind of surprised by that. And Avi votes for Crowbar, and for some unknown reason, he brings in David Holliday. And this is what I mean about all the votes always changing and what they're trying to do to the Mott, maybe. And maybe the same thing to Drosy, and maybe the same thing to Paul Roma. I mean, there's something going on here with getting maybe the hosts out. David Holliday comes in and votes for Crowbar. So Holliday votes for Crowbar. He's not a judge. Shouldn't be official. If I was Bill DeMott, I'd be putting in a challenge right there, right away. I'd be throwing the red flag like they do in the NFL, which I'll never watch the NFL coming up. That's for damn sure. I just want to throw in a personal note. The GOC will not watch the NFL ever again, not even the Super Bowl. So Holliday votes for Crowbar. Avi votes for Crowbar. Pete votes for Crowbar, and James votes for Bill DeMott. Something up there. And then the fans vote. Avi let the fans come in. The votes were pouring in. I don't know how many viewers there were last night. I'm sure it had to be close to 1 million, if not more. Even with all those scumbags out there that are jealous and envious and drinking the haterade, that we're trying to do something to this unbelievable show that's here for you, and you know who you are, and we're going to get you. Just know that we're going to get you legally the right way. Understand that. There's consequences. You'll have to own it. But we get on to all the votes that come in, and actually comes in a dead even tie for Crowbar and Bill DeMott. I'm surprised. I really am. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but a dead even tie. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Now listen, let me just make sure I got this right, because you're not going to believe what happens next. Fans' vote was tied. Holliday, who knows why. Avi brings on, wait, anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Who does Avi bring on? Taekwon. Let me say it again. Taekwon. He's real. Even I got fooled. After all these months, Taekwon is on the green room. I'm speaking right now metaphorically, not physically. Stand by. Taekwon, Avi brings on Taekwon, and he starts talking about Taekwon Day. And then boom, out of nowhere, with Crowbar on there too, Taekwon pops on the screen. There's the spoiler alert. I can't keep it anymore. I spoiled it myself. Taekwon's an actual person. A damn good-looking guy, too. And he pops on the damn screen. Bill DeMott. Unbelievable. I thought he was going to pop out of his room. I thought he was going to jump through the computer, the phone. I don't know what he was doing. Taekwon was on, and Avi was interviewing Taekwon, talking about International Taekwon Day, and Taekwon may end up voting. Bill addresses Taekwon. I'll give him credit. He says that he can't believe it. He's calling himself a fool. He's calling Taekwon a fool. DeMott, again, how he reacted, I'll give him credit. He kept his composure, although he was crazy. Taekwon speaks to Crowbar, and again, it's one of the, whether it's David and Howard at times, and Mickey Doyle, or Pete and James, and what's going on now with those two national sponsors and judges. It's a whole big kumbaya moment. Crowbar's giddy, Avi, Pete, Taekwon, but I will say, hey, you got me too. Taekwon is real, and he did show up on the green room night 10. So they're going back and forth talking about Star Wars and cake and the celebration and how they're good friends, and even maybe Taekwon's in the same house, supposedly. But Bill DeMott catches on, and maybe it's not. I'm not sure. Bill's calling foul. I can't, listen, it's not right. Not only has he been specifically targeted by the judges, and by Avi especially, and Taekwon, didn't even know if he was real. You dropped a bomb on him like this, that Taekwon shows up actually and he is real. I call foul. It's all unbelievable. David Holliday should have never been a judge. And then you're pouring all over this guy, and you're going to make him a vote knowing you're friends, and you already voted against Bill DeMott. I mean, it really wasn't right. It was a big setup, and I'm so tired of hearing about Star Wars and Taekwon. Yeah, I guess maybe he's an okay guy. But you know what happened? Taekwon went and voted and swerved everybody. The swerve is on. That's right. It is swerve of the century. Taekwon voted for Bill DeMott. How do you like that? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. How about them apples? How does that jar your preserves? That's half cry, half maniacal laugh. But Bill DeMott, I can't believe it. I'm by myself. The Swerve, the legendary Taekwon Swerve is what I'm going to call it. The green room screw job, whatever you want to call it. Avi says it's no laughing matter. How about that to come back and kick you in the ass, Avi Klein? How about that? You finally reap what you sow and got what was coming to you, Avi Klein. You may be my boss and in charge of this, Avi Klein, but you got what was getting to you, what you did to Bill DeMott and everyone else that you've been doing in short-sighting in this tournament. And Taekwon, my man, 50 grand, my brother from another mother, there is no other. I don't know you, but I like you. Whether you vote against me, don't vote against me, I really don't care at this point. The Swerve was unbelievable. Crowbar is out. Just like you dropped me and that blockhead Rock Richards in the trial, you're out, Crowbar, and I hope they don't bring you back. Hey, listen, I still love you like a brother, man. I'll perform with you anytime, Crowbar. Hit me up, inbox me, bro. Hit me in the hip, as they used to say back in the day, bro. But guess what? You're out, and face value Bill DeMott is moving on to the second round, and he was hysterical. That was a moment for the ages. You talk about legendary nights. Night 10 was another one, Avi, with all the shenanigans going on by these hackers. And I don't know if they're from Russia. Who knows where they're from? It's happening all over the country and the government. Everything else, they were trying to do it to you too, but you know what? You pulled it off again, my friend. Unbelievable. Wow, Bill DeMott has moved on to the second round, so that was unbelievable. It took a long time, but it was a great match. Listen, we're almost at an hour right now. We're going to continue to go on. We got a lot to cover. Stay with me. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this. And I notice a lot of my lines have been used by the sponsors, by Pete, by Avi. I consider that flattery. And no harm, no foul. Help me out, though. Could they, oh, jeez. That's another story for another time. So then, Avi, again, with the Get Out Clown. I'm getting tired of it. Get Out Klein. But you say whatever you want because you can't get in my head. Get Out Clown. I'm not going anywhere, Avi. You see that through all the things I'm going through. Who's still standing? Well, I'm not really standing, but you get it, right? Get Out Clown. Get Out Clown. But here we go. I talked about it earlier. Match 4, the Guardian of Chaos versus Pinocchio Joe, what you've all been waiting for, a history, unprecedented, 4th matchup between me and that goon, Pinocchio Joe. So the promos were played. Hey, listen, I have a lot going on, a lot of things going. Yeah, you know I'm here now, but you never know where I'm going to be or end up or where I'm going. Only I know that, or Jay Brony. So Avi is talking putting out promos and intros from myself and Pinocchio Joe. And if you saw him, you're missing out. Some unbelievably strange promos, true to life. You're not going to want to miss it. And then in Pinocchio Joe's promo, he's mentioning family and how personal it's gotten between him and I. And he starts talking about Bobby. That's right, Bobby. And then Pinocchio Joe is talking about Ruby. Yeah. Ruby. And he's talking about family and how much he hates me and what he's going to do to the GOC and what he'll do to Jay Brony if he's around too, and making all these claims and accusations, and he's got all these weapons in his background, but yet you haven't shown or proven anything. You may have gotten to me that one time, Pinocchio Joe, and I'm not admitting that it was me that got to you. I think you poisoned yourself. I'll never cop to it. I'll never admit it, Pinocchio Joe. I had nothing to do with what happened to you on night 5 and that alleged poisoning. You made it. That's on you. I'm happy you're alive, so this way I could take your heart out for real, Pinocchio Joe. Bobby and Ruby will be collateral damage. You exposed it. You brought it out. You got in my business. And that's just the way it goes. You saw the promos. You knew what he was talking about. And again, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to admit to anything. Conduct an investigation. I don't know what happened to the power grid. I don't know what happened to the Wi-Fi, the internet, StreamYard, the electricity. I have no idea. I don't control the whole Northeast corridor. Oh, wait. I think there is that's another story for another time. All kinds of technical difficulties. We know it's been on the show before. You can't count on that. This is the way and the age of the future. We know that it happens with technical difficulties. But I'm telling you, I had nothing to do with it. Yeah. But listen, I was in the green. Avi, will you vouch for me? Wasn't I in the green room? I know I wasn't on screen. I have an alibi. You're not going to put, I heard a lot throughout that show, and especially towards the end, that you guys want to blame me for something. I'm always catching the weight for technical issues. Dial up internet, pay your cable bill, this, that, where I live. I can't help it that I live in a secluded area. It's not my fault. When I need to get through to somebody, I will. Need to get through with CFFC, the Guardians of Chaos, I will. So don't put the weight on me, what happened last night and in previous episodes, and I've said it before. No connection. So they try to bring in Pinocchio Joe. They can't bring him in. They bring in David. They bring in Rich. They bring in Pete. They bring in James. Everybody's talking about how bad the connection is. And, but Pinocchio Joe utters those words, and family members, and you see the promos that, if you're paying attention, mean a lot if you know what's going on, because there's things happening that you don't know about. So they try to bring on Joe. And of course, hey, listen, I was never on screen. So they try to bring on Joe for our history-making match. It doesn't happen. Obviously is so biased for Pinocchio Joe that it's unbelievable. It's sickening. It's disgusting. You're a despicable human being, Avi Klein, for what you're doing, for what you're making me go through, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I said it before. Unbiased, fine, Klein, what you're doing to me is not right and not fair, but I will persevere and overcome, Klein. I will. Pinocchio Joe and whatever else has to be thrown at me. It's just the way it is. You see me fighting through it. My loyal fan base, my Guardians of Chaos, the people that follow me, the fans. I may be misunderstood. I may be a bad guy, the ultimate bad guy, and you wouldn't want to cross me. But my fan base is loyal, and they follow me, and they come out. And I've won every one of these matchups by the fans' votes. And it's up to whatever else happened to why I'm not already in the second round. And that's a fact. So that's what happens. So we come to find out, I get called a lowlife. Avi's trying to blame all the Guardians of Chaos, my posse, everybody else, that we were all over I-95, I-91, all up the Northeast, up towards the border in Canada, out to the Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. Well, you know what? I have people everywhere. That's not my fault. I have them out in the Pac Rim. I have people everywhere, brothers, loyalists, fans, prospects, whatever you want to call them. That's what I have in the Guardian of Chaos, and that's just the way it is. The Guardians of Chaos will always be by my side. It's not just me you have to worry about. So they catch the blame for it. I'm playing mind games. That's what this green room is about. It's about mind games, Avi Klein. You said it. You're making me move. I can't even move. What you're doing and what I'm going to do to Pinocchio Joe and the rest of what's going on here, you're not going to want to miss what's happening. I'm telling you, Klein. You wanted mind games, you got mind games. And I'm not competent at admitting to anything. You figure it out for yourself. You're so biased, it's ridiculous. And they actually even put that goon, that one who doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want to put a face to the product, wants to hide. He actually got put on screen about 3 times last night. Did you ever see me? The answer is no, you didn't. Pinocchio Joe's your man. That's what it comes down to. Davis Jubilee. So we're going to get off to that. Listen, bad audio, there's echoes, whatever else is going on. He can't cut the mustard. I can. When I was having issues, you tried to blame it on him. I didn't blame it on Pinocchio Joe. I didn't blame it. But it almost threatened my spot in the green room when I had to cut up the mustard for technicalities. So everybody else has to do it too. Let's move on. That's enough of that banter because it was wasted time on his side, on your side. It falls right into my plans. We move on into night 10 of the 64-person single elimination bracket style tournament on the WWAB Podcast Network, 7 nights a week live. This is Saturday night live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for what Avi Klein does. So we're going to get off that. We see Davis Jubilee, James from right guard, and Pete from Sharpie on screen again. They say that they didn't want to see Bill DeMott advance. Now, why would they say that? You say those things, but yet, James, you voted for Bill DeMott. Pete, I'm not sure if you voted for him at all. Davis has nothing to do with it. But they didn't want Bill to advance. Now, I'm not sure why. And then they talk, too, of all people from the elimination, they talk about Maria. Now, we know that the eliminated have come back. They're going to pick. Pete and James confer. Avi continues to blame, again, all through this, Avi continues to blame me through all this. You continue to blame me for everything that goes wrong, Avi, on this thing, technically. I don't understand why. I don't understand why. So they try for a second and third time to bring on Pinocchio Joe. I said I wasn't going to continue to bring this up, but I'm going through the logistics of, I want to give the good, the bad, the ugly, and the format of the show of what Avi does. So you have to bear with me. So that's what's happening there as I try to bring on that Goon a second time. But was the GOC on? No, he wasn't. He was not. But that's okay, because it plays into everything that we're talking about. Again, I told you, Davis Jubilee, Rich James, Pete are on screen. The third try, again, it was a no-go. Oh. Stand by, will you please? Stand by. What's that, about 15 seconds? That's not bad. That's not bad. So we move on after the debacle of the night, which was Pinocchio Joe. But I'll see you again, fat boy. And you're going to go down quicker than a fat kid on a seesaw. Remember that, Pinocchio Joe. Step up or step out. So we go on to the next matchup. Again, the videos and the trailers after the debacle of Pinocchio Joe. And of course, we know what happened. Or we're going to find out what happened. We have the Murder Hornet Eric Heron back on in his matchup against Hauser Odalak. Now, we already know that Eric has a grudge with James from right guard for how James allegedly screwed Eric. Listen, the Murder Hornet, I said it earlier, the lone wolf, he took it to B. Brian Blair. And yes, win, lose, or draw, you better pack a lunch when it's with Eric Heron. He was eliminated. He has been brought back. He is looking for James. I'd be worried. This is the first matchup. This is the first matchup between Heron and Hauser Odalak. That's his opponent. And the videos, once again, Avi, I want to congratulate you on the videos, all seriousness and kidding aside. They should be award-winning videos. You put it in for each one, even though you try to cut people up in some of them. I'll give you credit. And Eric, for the first time, has gone back to his history. He's wearing face paint. He's in his war paint, and Eric Heron is somebody that you want on your side. I'd go into a foxhole with you. That's for sure, Eric Heron. So we have Eric back. I couldn't think of a better guy to have back on the program because he's a true dedicated guy that wants to compete. And of course, the enigma, Hauser Odalak, is his opponent. There's a lot of issues that he has going on, and especially with the music, man. He seems, though, to have a little bit of a rebirth. He seems to have changed a little bit, his attitude, the way he speaks. Geeky, nerdy, dweeb, the hair, but he kind of bounces back and forth. And he definitely has issues with the music, man, as does Mindy McKinney Red. And that'll be a match that'll be coming up on night 11 that you're not going to want to miss. So it's tied into this. The Music Man, Hauser Odalak, Mindy McKinney Red, it's all tied in. And now Eric Heron. So Avi, James, and Eric banter back and forth. And it's serious. It's a shoot that he's looking for James. And James, if I'm you, I hire extra security knowing that the Murder Hornet is after you. The first challenge that we have in this eclectic matchup, this yin and yang matchup here in the green room. And remember, Eric was brought back. So who's better than you to bring... Guys are being brought back, gals are being brought back, and I haven't even competed to see if I can go on. Unbelievable. I hope I get the same chance, but you know what? I don't plan on losing. So here's the first challenge. It's a debate improv combination between Eric Heron and one Hauser Odalak. Look at the spelling of that name if you get a chance. Spoiler alert for you. The challenge for Odalak goes first. He has to begin it with... Now, you begin with this phrase that Avi comes up with, and then you end with the phrase that he wants you to end with, and then you make it up in between. It's a very tough debate improv thrown together, but that's the challenge that Avi has pulled out of his hat that he comes up with. Could you imagine how long it takes to come up with this stuff and who does? I don't know what you're doing. So here's the challenge for Hauser Odalak. He has to start with, it's like an American cheese omelet And he has to end with, but we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Think about that. So he has to start off with, it's like an American cheese omelet, and he has to end it up with, we're off to see the Wizard of Oz. I'll tell you, Hauser Odolak may be a dweeb, he may be a geek, but he has some talent, and just to watch this was entertaining in itself. And then we go on to Eric Heron, the lone wolf, if you will. He has to convince Hauser to forfeit before it gets ugly. And if I'm Hauser Odolak, not me, because I don't get down like that. If I'm Hauser Odolak, I think about that. So he has to convince Hauser to forfeit before it gets ugly. So he starts off with this phrase, this sentence: my pet hippo may not like this. I'll say it again. Eric has to start off with, my pet hippo may not like this, and end up with, knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, this old man is rolling. I added that on. So let's go over it again. Eric has to start off by convincing Hauser to forfeit before it gets ugly, and start off with the phrase, my pet hippo may not like this, and end up with, knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. I don't think Eric completed. He was very intense. He's a competitor. You could hear that old hound dog barking in the background. He's real. He's damn real. And so I'm not sure what happened there in that first challenge, but who comes up with this? We go to the votes. Pete votes for Eric. James says he can't and won't vote. Now, I know why. Because he probably soiled himself. Thinking about the murder hornet. 1 minute you're trying to help him, James, and the next minute he's coming after you. He's a man of his promises. I can tell you that much from what I know about him. So James decides to recuse himself from this, plead the fifth, whatever you want to call it, but James backs out. He says he's not going to vote, and he won't vote. So Pete votes for Eric. Avi votes for Eric. Now, I'm a little out of place on this, but this is the matchup. So that's the votes here on the improv debate challenge. Avi votes Eric. James says he won't vote. Pete votes for Eric. Okay, so let's remember that now because we went a little out of order. We go on to the next challenge. It's a trivia challenge. Hauser chooses tails, and as Avi said, it figures, and he wins. It's tails. So in the first challenge for Hauser Odolak, he has to, it's a math challenge. Of all things, a guy with a pocket protector, the tape between his nose, he looks like Spaz from Meatballs. Do you remember that? Spaz, 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 Spaz. That's who Hauser Odolak looks like. And then he has to do a math trivia challenge. So here it is. It's a series of questions that Avi came up with. The first question is, and I'm just going to throw it out there, give you the good, the bad, the ugly, and tell you if you got it right or you got it wrong. The first question for Hauser is, the prime number of the first 10 is, bang, Hauser gets it correct. The second question, the most popular two-digit number, bang, correct. Hauser Odolak gets it. 2 in a row. The third question, only prime numbers that end in 3 or 5, Hauser, bang, boom, 3 out of the box, 3 in a row. Only prime numbers that end in 3 or 5. The fourth question, the square root of 350, that's right, the square root of 350, bang, he rattles it out, comes up with the correct answer. Howard, you see the Freudian slip there? Hauser Odolak, 4 out of the box, answers all of them. Talk about a brain. No matter what you say about him, he could be in with Andrew Cassase for Revenge of the Nerds. If they ever reboot the TV series, Hauser Odolak Hauser Odolak should be able to at least do a read for the Revenge of the Nerds TV series reboots. Unbelievable smart guy, that Hauser Odolak. Here's Eric's challenge. Now, Eric is from the Midwest, or actually the Southwest. Eric's debate or trivia challenge, we'll call it, is about the Chicago Bulls. Now, I know Eric likes sports, but it's about the Chicago Bulls. Now, remember, if he's going to have to at least get 4 questions to win, then there's going to be a draw-off or a deadlock or a tie, whatever you want to call it. Sudden death. But unfortunately, Eric gets a question about the Chicago Bulls. The first question out of the box, who drafted Scottie Pippen? Who drafted Scottie Pippen under the Chicago Bulls trivia challenge for Eric Heron, a.k.a. the Murder Hornet, who has been saved in the green room? Bang, he gets it wrong. We know Scottie Pippen went to Central Arkansas, but who he got drafted by. So Eric gets it wrong right away. Hauser Odolak won. So now we're tied 1-1. Okay, now if you remember correctly, we never did get to find out if this was going to be a best of three. Avi didn't pull it out of the box. He didn't pull it out of the hat. He does this all the time. He made us wait. So now that we're, night 10, this is their first matchup. Eric's been saved. He's against the Enigma. It's tied 1-1. Avi decides now he's going to pull out the photo. And Avi pulls out the photo of the one in the war paint, Eric Heron. So this now becomes the best 2 out of 3 between Hauser Odolak and Eric Heron. So talk about that. Eric was first tied with B. Brian Blair in an unbelievable matchup. Then he lost one to him. Then he gets eliminated against a guy who's the Cauliflower Alley Club president, a legend of the Killer Bees. He gets saved, comes back, and look what happens. It's now 2 out of 3. He gets more chances. Fortunate for Eric Heron, I'll tell you that much. So we move on to the next challenge. We're tied up at 1-1 here now. I want you to remember that. We went in reverse order, but we're tied 1-1. Eric Heron, Hauser Odolak. Improv for the third challenge. Here it is. It's sudden death to deadlock. It's tied 1-1. Hauser has to portray Eric hunting for R.G. James, but he keeps slipping on a banana peel as he's doing it. So let me get to this again. This is the third challenge between Hauser and Eric. It's an improv challenge. Hauser has to portray Eric hunting for R.G. James, but he keeps slipping on a banana peel. Fans, if you didn't watch this, I don't know if you had your head under a rock or in the sand, but that was entertaining. In turn, Eric Heron has to portray Hauser interviewing for a job as a calculus teacher, but he can't stop smiling. And the P is the interviewer, the alleged so-called principal. So that's what Eric has to portray Hauser, but he can't stop smiling. Now, if you know Eric Heron, I don't think he's ever smiled a day in his life. But so those are the improv challenges. We go to the next challenge, and Avi springs this out of anywhere. We know this sudden death. It's the first matchup, but they're tied 1-1 on night 10. Avi pulls one out of the box, and you have to be ready. Hauser, drop and give me 10 push-ups. That's right. You heard me. I'm not going to lean forward. Drop and give me 10. Hauser drops to the floor, and he couldn't even do 1 push-up. Not one. No wonder why he's is who he is. His physical presence is certainly a sight to behold, but he couldn't do it. It was you never know what Avi will come with, but certainly Hauser couldn't do 1 push-up. It reminded me of the scene with Bill Murray and Harold Ramis in the movie where they were, what the heck was the name of the movie? And they said, drop and give me 10. Sergeant Holka, John Candy, the whole 9 yards. Stripes. That's what it reminded me of. Bill Murray attempting to do the push-ups, and Harold Ramis throws him the cash to do the push-ups in the movie Stripes. That's what Hauser Odolak looked like. And of course, the physical specimen. We've seen him hit in the heavy bag. Eric Heron has to drop and do 10 push-ups. He gets everything down to, and I think he did 10, 20, 30, 40. Who knows? Avi had to stop him because Eric just kept going on and on like it was nothing. Unbelievable. And so there it is. He did all the push-ups. Odolak couldn't do it. This was the deadline. This was the third challenge. Eric Heron wins. He's up 1-0, not only mentally and physically, but now he's up on Hauser Odolak after being saved, and Eric Heron has the lead and is up 1-0 on Hauser Odolak in the best of 3. I will say one thing. The Murder Hornet deserved it. So there you have it, fans. Eric Heron defeats Hauser Odolak. Listen, he couldn't lace up Eric Heron's boots. We know that. So Eric Heron, before he leaves after winning his first matchup here against Hauser, he tells R.G. James, I'm coming for you. I'm looking for you, R.G. James. Now, if I'm R.G., I don't know if he should be going after if Eric should be threatening a national sponsor or going after him. I don't know what the future holds, but this is what happens, and this is what it does to people on the green room. So we forge on again, and at this point, I don't know what had happened at this point. But they actually tried for a fourth time to bring on that goon, the man with the brain of a dehydrated baby. Now remember, I was nowhere around. I was nowhere to be seen. I have an alibi. They try to bring on Pinocchio Joe again, and he looks like 3 pounds of sausage in a 1 pound bag, to use that coin of phrase. And they still couldn't get it on. Of course, Avi Klein says the GOC must be playing mind games. I don't know. Am I? Can you figure it out? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? So we go on to the next matchup. As Eric is now up 1-0, we go on to the Battle of the Eliminated. Now, we know who that is. That's Jamie Sparling and Maria. Now, Jamie lost to Mr. Main Event, Mr. Winner Circle, David Holliday, and Maria lost to the Queen of Serene, and that would be Miranda. Now, Mickey Doyle was supposed to be here. This was supposed to be a three-way. You had your chance. You've had umpteen chances, Mickey Doyle, but he never showed up. He was nowhere to be found. He was persona non grata, to coin a phrase. Nowhere to be found. Mickey Doyle has a chance. Everybody gets all these chances, and they keep letting it slide. Mickey Doyle wasn't there, so it comes down to Jamie versus Maria in the Battle of the Eliminated. Now, let's remember, first off, I'll give Jamie Sparling credit. Hold on, let me take a little sip here. Jamie Sparling, I will say, fans, think about this. He was wearing the retro throwback Samuel L. Jackson t-shirt. Now, he wore a Bruce Lee t-shirt in the first matchup against David Holliday, so I'll give him credit. His t-shirt game isn't bad. Samuel L. Jackson on Jamie Sparling. It's nice and cold. Nothing like hydration. The nectar of the gods. So we move on to the Battle of the Eliminated. Avi and David are on with Jamie. David calling Jamie a loser. We understand that. I don't know why they entertain this, why they have to throw fuel on the fire, salt in the wound. I personally don't think it's right. But my thoughts right now don't count. As long as I'm down here at Chaos Corner, that's what matters. So Jamie and Maria, we continue on. And the first debate with the Battle of the Eliminated here on Night 10 is a challenge debate. And everyone wants to know, where's Mickey? Really? The debate challenge that Avi pulls out for Jamie is convince the masses what Maria has to do to advance to round 2 while picking your nose. While picking your nose. That's what Jamie had to do. Now, he was real hesitant. He didn't want to do it. I don't know who came up with this challenge, but he had to pick his nose and convince the masses why Maria would advance to round 2. And, of course, they popped David on, and it looked like he was literally poking out his eyeball. He had his nose digging up there so far. It looked like he was going to poke out his eyeball. But David did it. Jamie was a little hesitant, so he didn't get any points for that. In turn, Maria's challenge was she had to... she had to convince the fans, the followers, the people, what Mickey Doyle needs to do to make it to the second round. Now, she has to do this while doing the wave. Now, I don't know what the wave is where Maria comes from, because she was going like this. And I'll do it the best I can because I'm incapacitated. I'm on the pup list, although I'm still a bad son of a bitch. Maria... They gave it to you on this, but this is the wave. That's the wave. You stand up and do the wave. She didn't do the wave. She was doing it like she was the torpedo swimming in the Olympics. But that's just what I noticed. I'm here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So she had to convince what Mickey Doyle would do to get to the second down while doing the wave. So here we go to the votes. Pete votes for Maria. Now, there's something going on there. I don't know. I feel it. I don't know. I've seen it. I pick up on these things. I read people. That's what I do for work. That's what I did for a living. Pete votes for Maria. James votes for Maria. Avi votes for Maria. Now, this was very easy to see the setup that was coming here. So here we go. Battle of the Eliminated. Not only did Mickey Doyle not show up, but now Maria's up 1-0. She clean sweeps through the votes. The fans don't even get to vote. Maria's up 1-0 on Jamie. Here's the challenge promo. Okay? It's basically a double or nothing. It's basically, yes. See, boy, I'm good. This is what you would get if I was the host. Accuracy. Pinpoint accuracy. So this next challenge here, promo challenge that Avi comes up with is a double or nothing on the points. It's the worst of the worst game. I'll say it again, the worst of the worst, worth double points. Here's the challenge for the promo. Jamie goes first. He's got to talk about himself while being worked on by a dentist. And Jamie has been alluding to this, and I can agree to some of the things and a lot of the things that he does say. And he's saying, really, Avi? Unbiased, fine, Klein? Unbiased, Klein? And you give me this kind of promo for the double or nothing, fighting for this? So he has to talk about himself while being worked on by a dentist. That was a stretch. I'll give Jamie, he tried it. Maria's promo challenge, in turn, worst of the worst game. It's double or nothing. Remember, she has to talk about herself, why she doesn't belong. Wait, let me get this right. Why she doesn't belong while talking like an upbeat Valley Girl cheerleader. So that's what Maria's challenge is. She has to be an upbeat Valley Girl cheerleader. I'll give her credit, even though I know that's not her genre. She's the queen of mean. She did okay with that challenge. I'll give her credit on that. So here we go to the votes. I'm giving you the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm not going word for word. Bear with me. We're well over an hour. We're coming up on an hour and 25, almost an hour and a half. Stay to the end. So here we go to the votes. Pete votes for Jamie. James votes for Jamie. Avi votes for Maria. Again, the voting's been haphazard and all over the place. So we go to the votes. Avi's letting the fans vote in again. The votes come pouring in, and it was a slobber knocker. Maria slaughtered Jamie when it came to the votes. Hey, listen, she's easy on the eyes. She's smart. She's tough. She's intelligent. And she's an attractive lady. So she's up 1-0 now. They really went overboard and voted for Maria on that. Jamie had no chance. So we move on to Maria and Jamie Sparling. The battle of the eliminated. It's tied 1-1 now here on night 10. So this is the sudden death promo. Remember that. That was double or nothing for the points. So there's a sudden death promo. Jamie, in the first promo, what would you have done to defeat Gangrel different than Mickey Doyle did? Now, that's the challenge, and you have to do it by whispering. Now, remember, we're just coming off the double points. We all knew they were going to vote for Maria. This is Jamie's last desperation chance in the battle of the eliminated. He's already been saved once. So here's the sudden death promo. What would you have done to defeat Gangrel differently than Mickey Doyle did? And you have to do it while whispering. First off, I think the whole whispering thing is kind of creepy because it reminds me of creepy Joe Biden. Can I say that? I think I can. So give it to Jamie. He's still saying unbiased Klein. Really? So then the next challenge Maria has to do on her, this is sudden death promo. Now remember, stick with me here. Don't shut it off yet. Don't turn the channel. Now, Maria, what would you have done differently to defeat David Holliday while playing the air drums? Now, so she's actually talking about, obviously, Jamie Sparling. So Maria has to say what she would have done differently to defeat Holliday, which Jamie didn't, while playing the air drums, the bongo drums, whatever it is that you want to do. Lucy. So I'll give you credit. Maria did pretty good. The challenge was okay. Now, Avi, he does this. He always tries to pull things out of the hat. He always tries to make you wait. He doesn't follow protocol or patterns because you never know what's going to happen to the green room. And that's his mantra. So while they're doing after those promos, before they get to the votes, because this is what he tries to do, wait for it, Avi goes to pull out the photo of whether this is a one and done or this is a best of three. So here it goes. Avi again goes to the hat and he pulls out a photo of Jamie Sparling. So we know that this is the best 2 out of 3. So the battle of the eliminated, once again, like I referred to Eric Heron, you get to come back. And not only is it not a one and done, you're getting the opportunity of a lifetime to continue in this tournament. And now it's a 2 out of 3. So Jamie and Maria become a 2 out of 3. That's the photo he pulls. Then we go to the fans' vote. And the fans vote for Jamie. I couldn't believe it. That's how it ended. It was out of nowhere. He didn't go to the regular votes. He went to the fan votes. The fans voted Jamie. Jamie's up 1-0 on Maria, the queen of mean, in the best 2 out of 3. The battle of the eliminated ended in something that I didn't expect. I didn't expect Jamie to go up 1-0, and I certainly didn't expect the fans to vote for Jamie when in the previous challenge, I don't think Jamie got 1 vote. So really interesting what happens. Jamie moves on 1-0. They'll be back in the best 2 out of 3 with Maria. We go on and we roll on as the Green Room tournament rolls on. to the next matchup. The once former super assistant Alex and the Spitfire, as I call her, the Amour love tryst here between the Battle of the Lovers, or as I like to say it, Love No More, Dahlia Jubilee and Alex. Unbelievable. Again, Avi gives it to everyone. Every competitor, every person that comes onto the green room gets their cup of coffee, gets their 15 minutes, gets their time spot, their limit. You got to say that Avi, he may be unbiased Klein tonight in that night 10 video for the green room, and he wasn't unbiased. But when it comes to giving all the competitors a shot, and this is a shoot, he is very, very fair. I can say that about him. But let's get back on to when he's the clown, get out Klein in the green room. So we go on to the promo challenge. Love No More. It's tied 1-1. This will be an elimination matchup. Dahlia Jubilee and Alex. Their first challenge is a promo. Alex, he has to convince Dahlia that age is just a number. Along with he sees it as a long-term relationship. He wants to be Dahlia's amour. Again, age is just a number, and he sees this as a long-term relationship, and he has to convince Dahlia in this promo challenge as he plays a Russian hitman. Now, I don't know if that was any good, because Alex, I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You were not good on the Hitman Challenge. So I give him credit. Alex is a tough hombre. He's there. He's full of flamboyance. He's full of confidence. I see vermin vigor like I did in the Geek the Dweeb Odalak, but I may have been wrong on that. But Alex is back with a vengeance. So I will say he gave it his all on that promo challenge. In turn, Dahlia wasn't just... She has to convince, or her promo has to be talking about Alex, that it wasn't just his teddy bear in pajamas. It was his intellect and talent and drive. But you have to admit, she thought of Pete while she was dancing. Something to that effect. The bottom line is, it wasn't just Alex's teddy bear in pajamas. It was his intellect, his drive. So Dahlia goes on with that. But she does admit, and none of us saw this coming, that she's had some maybe kinky, freaky thoughts, a little freak, nasty, knocking boots with Pete, the sponsor. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I think that kind of shook Alex. We move on with Alex and Dahlia. Night 10 of the Green Room Tournament. We're rolling on, fans. Stay here to the end. Alex thinks that it's a conflict of interest with Pete, and I have to agree. So after that first challenge, and that we've been brought to light that Dahlia has dreams about Pete. She was the former wife of Davis Jubilee. She's in the tryst and now Love No More with Alex. So now Alex wants to put up she seems like maybe a little bit of a floozy, if I could say that word. So Alex thinks that it's a conflict of interest, and I kind of agree. We go to the votes. Pete votes Alex, James votes Dahlia, and the fans' votes come up. Now listen, James, I'll say this before I get to the fan vote. James was on a phone, calling security, looking awfully nervous, James. Looking shaky, nervous. So again, Pete votes for Alex. James, obviously distracted, votes for Dahlia. Now we go to the fans. The fans came out of the woodwork for this. Still, at 3 hours in, the fans have hung on and stayed to the end of the green room. That's why, because it's the hottest, fastest rising, growing movement in the entertainment industry. That's why you're there from pillar to post, from coast to coast and border to border. That's why. So the fans go crazy, and they vote for Dahlia. Dahlia is now up 1-0 on Alex. Listen, we know that this is a personal, as I always say, amour between Alex and Dahlia. So now Dahlia is up 1-0. She's got the fans. Now, Avi mentions and sees lust in Dahlia's eyes. I'm not sure if anyone else picked up on it. I'm not going to give my viewpoint yet, because we're all still competitors. Avi isn't. But he sees lust in Dahlia's eyes for Pete, the sponsor. The next challenge is an improv challenge. I wanted you to know this. Alex goes first. Pete plays the boss, as they usually do. They have to come in and be a role player. Alex is a stuttering construction worker refusing to leave his lunch break and mentions his fish named Charlie. Once again, let me say this. Alex is a stuttering construction worker. Pete is his boss. Alex is refusing to leave lunch break while he's stuttering, and he mentions his fish named Charlie. First it was a walrus, and now it's a fish. In turn, Dahlia, now Pete is playing and he's going on a dive in this for this scene. Pete is a scuba diver. And in this scene, Dahlia is a scuba instructor, but she has aquaphobia. She's anxious about getting in the water, and she keeps referring to volleyball. So think about that scene. Pete is now going on a scuba dive. He needs his instructor. That's one Dahlia who has a fear of water. And instead of scuba diving, she's talking about volleyballs. And then there was kind of a weird moment, and Dahlia said something to the effect of down deep. And then Avi chimed in and said, "Did you hear down deep?" And then Pete chimed in and said he heard down deep. And then David Holliday chimed in and said he heard down deep. So apparently Dahlia said down deep. And it was noted, so duly noted. We go to the votes. Pete votes for Dahlia. And again, I can understand where Alex is coming from. This has been one heck of a war, a love triangle, and it may be growing more. James votes for Alex. In turn, we go to the fans. And once again, the votes and the fans, I'll give you credit. You hung tough. You stayed all night with all the hackers and technical problems. You hung tight with the green room, and we appreciate you. The fans come in, and once again, they seem to have taken to her, and Dahlia wins. So now, it's 1-1. It's tied 1-1. Let me make sure that I got this right. Tied 1-1. I want to make sure that I got this right. We go on to, it can't be tied 1. It was tied 1-1. It can't be, because we go on to a doubler. It is, Dahlia is up, because it goes double or nothing sudden death. Here we go. Double or nothing sudden death with Dahlia and Alex. Dahlia is up. Now in the sudden death, Avi comes up with games. Make me cry. Now here's the concept of the challenge. The game keeps going on until one of the opponents cries legit. So this is the make me cry game in this challenge. Double or nothing sudden death. The loser cries, and it keeps going on until someone cries. So Alex goes first. Using these words in the make me cry game, he has to use grizzly bear, dishonest, and tablecloth. In turn, Dahlia has to use the words bad lover, mediocre, and baby powder. Now, the whole point that Avi does this for is because he's trying to get them to tear each other apart. There's a method to his madness and to the competition and to these challenges. The next challenge, Alex has to use the words manipulator, cheater, and phony. Now, Alex doesn't want to play. He really doesn't want to play the game, and he's really kind of on a shoot. And I know we always use that word. And he's on a shoot saying that Dahlia really does think that he's her boy toy and available that whenever she wants. And he's done. He's done. So Dahlia is kind of acting weird and strange after hearing this, and out of nowhere, never expected this because she's the consummate professional, Dahlia gets up and walks off, screaming, yelling like a freak. Says, "To hell with you. I thought we had something." And she forfeited. That's what happened out of nowhere. So she was winning. She would have advanced to round 2. She was winning. Dahlia gave up her future and the amour, love no more. Dahlia won. She should be in round 2. The fans love her. But that's it. She walked off. She blew it. She lost her cool. She couldn't control her emotions. This is what the green room does to you. Alex wins. Pete and Avi agree. Alex is no longer the super assistant. Alex proved and conquered love over hate, emotions, triangles, lust. And Alex has moved on to the second round. Wow. Dahlia, you gave up the chance of a lifetime. Fans, stay with me. We're about to wrap it up here. I really struggled through this. I want to appreciate it. I want you guys to leave a comment, share this, stay till the end, watch the Green Room. Green Room Night 11 is going to be like nothing you've ever seen. So we continue on with the second winner's circle, the second edition. Now, I'm not sure why, But in the second edition in the winner's circle, it's Avi and actually David Holiday to close out the program. So they banter back and forth, and David Holiday's going on with his shtick, Mr. Main Event. The hackers are still at work. They're still trying to cut off the show. They're still trying to ruin it for the fans, but we persevered. We overcame. WWA be strong. WWA be proud. In the winner's circle, the second edition with David Holiday and Avi closed out night 10, round 1 of the Green Room tournament. And we learned everything from the good, the bad, and the ugly. From me, the GOC, because I tell it like it is. And I'll say that to say this. Night 11, here's a quick preview. This Saturday night, live, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, July 24th. You're not going to want to miss night 11, round 1, as the Green Room tournament rolls on. And I will be back, allegedly. The fourth unprecedented history-making matchup between that goon Pinocchio Joe and the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy, GOC Esquire, Kirkland Esquire, whatever you want to call me. And don't forget, we had that 1-no contest. I'm surviving all these different injuries and druggings and cataclysmic, catastrophic events from you, Pinocchio Joe. And I hope Bobby and Ruby watch this show. Night 11, it's you and I, fat boy. And also, the Yellow Rose of Texas, Mindy McKinney-Red, returns in her elimination matchup against that freak, the Music Man. Now remember, they're tied 1-1. This is an elimination matchup. Mindy McKinney-Red, will she bring in, as I call her, Glinda the Good Witch? Will she bring in the light, the music lady, the beautiful sounding angelic figure? What an unbelievable woman, the music lady in the Green Room. Will Mindy McKinney-Red bring her back to get rid of the Music Man? Who will David Holiday have on the Green Room? Who from the second round? Which one of the winners will show up on Holiday's Winner's Circle segment? Because you never know what's going to happen on the Green Room. And of course, Avi is set up to film and talk to and conversate and interview with a huge star, someone from film and TV, a legend. You're not going to want to miss it. You never know the twists and turns and the excitement of the Green Room. Now, fans, I'm over an hour and a half. I made it reviewing night 10, round 1. And I'm coming back for night 11, round 1, in our fourth matchup, Pinocchio Joe. I thank you, fans. Without you, I couldn't do this. I am the Guardian of Chaos. I tell it like it is. And I'll say that to say this. The Green Room, every Saturday night, live, 8 p.m. Don't you dare miss it.